Hey everyone! Today we're diving into the Subway Surfers animated series. This show has 11 episodes and follows our favorite characters like Jake, Tricky, Fresh, and Yutani as they navigate their lives, face various issues, and encounter mysterious events. Let's explore their exciting world together. In the first episode, we meet a girl named Tricky at her house, dressed in ballet clothes. She suddenly receives a phone call from her friend, asking her to meet them at a restaurant. Before leaving, Tricky sits down for breakfast with her parents. During the meal, her mother talks incessantly about ballet, a topic that clearly doesn't interest Tricky. Eager to leave, she quickly finishes her breakfast and heads out. On her way, Tricky changes out of her ballet clothes into casual streetwear behind some shrubs. As she continues, she hears her mother calling her name. Panicked, Tricky hides behind a fountain, knowing her mother would disapprove of her street clothes. Seeing her distress, the gardener distracts Tricky's mother, giving Tricky a chance to change back into her ballet clothes and approach her mother. Her mother then gives her an expensive necklace to wear. Although confused, Tricky accepts the necklace and hurriedly leaves. In the final scene, the gardener who assisted Tricky takes a photo of her and sends it to someone. In the second episode, we see a girl named Yutani doing a live broadcast on the internet to showcase her latest invention, a satellite that can control the weather. When she tries to activate it, the satellite doesn't move. Just then, her stepfather enters her room to bring her lunch. She thanks him and asks for a favor. She needs him to go outside and give the satellite a little shake. He agrees and follows her instructions. The satellite starts working and takes off, but it flies erratically, nearly hitting Yutani's stepfather. Moments later, the satellite crashes and creates a small rain cloud. In the third episode, Tricky is extremely stressed because she is about to perform on stage. Her friends call to say they are coming to watch her, which only increases her anxiety. When her turn arrives, Tricky gets on stage, but she's so nervous and confused that she forgets to put on her ballet shoes, making it difficult for her to move gracefully. Jake and Fresh arrive just in time to see Tricky's disastrous performance. Jake notices how distressed Tricky is and decides to help by playing some lively music. Tricky responds to the music, starting to dance energetically. The audience loves her new moves, but the judge is not impressed and gives her a 0. However, Jake changes the score to a 10, lifting everyone's spirits and making the moment a happy one. In the fourth episode, we see Tricky, Fresh, Yutani, and Jake playing in a train yard. Tricky confides that she really wants to quit ballet, but is too scared to tell her mother. Jake and Fresh skate around, challenging each other to perform dangerous moves. Meanwhile, Yutani is using a metal detector to search the area. Suddenly, Yutani's metal detector picks up a powerful signal and starts dragging her uncontrollably. Jake tries to help, but the force is too strong. The detector stops briefly, and for a moment, everything in the yard begins to float as if gravity has been reduced. Then the metal detector plunges into the ground, taking Yutani and Jake with it. Fresh and Tricky try to intervene, but are unable to stop it. All 4 kids disappear into the ground. Moments later, a bright light flashes and the ground trembles. Suddenly, the kids are ejected back to the surface, along with the metal detector. They land on the ground, dazed but unharmed, and notice a mysterious device that has landed beside them. In the 5th episode, we see Fresh waking up and getting ready to go outside. As he's about to leave, he realizes his boombox is missing. He searches his room frantically but can't find it. He asks his family if they've seen it, but they all say no. Then he notices his little brother crawling away suspiciously. Fresh catches him and asks about the boombox. His brother points to the closet. Fresh opens it and finds his other little brother on top of a pile of things, trying to reach a jar of cookies. Beneath the pile, he spots his boombox. Suddenly, the pile starts to shake and collapses on Fresh, but he isn't hurt. He retrieves his boombox and is about to head outside when he realizes he's made a huge mess during his search. Reluctantly, he stays behind to clean it up. In the 6th episode, Fresh, Jake, Tricky, and Yutani are eating at Yutani's stepfather's restaurant. A strange robot serves them their food. Then a boy named King walks in. He sees the French fries Jake ordered and tries to take them. Jake stops him, but Tricky thinks King is cute and tries to give him one of Jake's fries. Jake slaps her hand, which starts a chain reaction, causing the robot to go out of control.
So fast!
Yutani's stepfather tries to stop the robot, but it ends up spilling ketchup on Fresh's shoes, making him shocked and confused. King then helps by using soda to clean the ketchup off Fresh's shoes. Fresh thanks him, and Jake gives King the French fries as a reward. In the 7th episode, the plot is fairly simple. Tricky attempts to teach Yutani how to skate, while Jake and Fresh sit nearby, making comments and poking fun at their efforts. Frustrated, Tricky eventually gives up and leaves. Jake, feeling hungry, decides to go find something to eat. Fresh and Yutani remain for a few moments until an earthquake suddenly strikes, scaring them. Startled, they quickly decide to leave as well. In the 8th episode, Tricky, Fresh, and Jake are hanging out at a skate park when Jake receives a message from Yutani asking them to meet her at the rail yard. When they arrive, something strange starts to happen. All the metal objects in the area begin to levitate and move toward a single point. The kids follow the flying metal and discover a large mass of it floating in the air. Suddenly, Yutani appears and explains that she used the mysterious device they found, which seems to be an anti-gravity device, to create a floating skateboard. Excited by the idea, Jake immediately tries to ride it, but quickly loses control, crashing into various objects.
It's really hard to steer.
I got this! I got this! I don't got this!
Meanwhile, Fresh, Tricky, and Yutani discuss the importance of keeping the device a secret to avoid any potential problems. Unknown to them, someone has witnessed everything. A mysterious figure dressed in a black suit and wearing a rabbit-shaped mask named Frank has been watching them. In the next episode, the guard spots Jake, Fresh, Yutani, and Tricky playing in his yard through the security cameras. He immediately rushes out to catch them. Meanwhile, Jake decides to create a lasting memory of this day, the day he rode a floating skateboard, by drawing a mural. As Jake begins to sketch, Fresh, Tricky, and Yutani keep watching the place for him in case the guard comes. Suddenly, Yutani sees the guard approaching and warns the others. The kids start to leave, but Jake refuses to go until he finishes his mural. With determination, he completes it just as the guard reaches him. In the 10th episode, Frank arrives and takes some pictures of Jake. He then uses a peculiar device that resembles a watch to lead him to an unknown location. Meanwhile, the guard, still in pursuit of Jake, spots Frank and begins following him discreetly. Frank eventually stops in front of a wall adorned with a strange symbol. Using his watch as a key, he activates the wall, causing a blue beam to shoot out towards the other side. However, the beam's path is obstructed by a mural on the opposite wall. Frank hurriedly tries to resolve the issue before time runs out, but he is too late. A high-speed train arrives, and he misses his chance to catch it. Jake arrives shortly after, only to be caught by the guard, who takes him home. Determined, Frank continues to follow the directions given by his mysterious watch. In the last episode, the guard brings Jake back to his house and informs his mom that he found Jake playing in the yard again. Angry, his mom sends Jake to his room. Determined to leave, Jake sneaks out through his window without telling anyone. On his way, he tries to call his friends, but runs into the guard dog, which won't let him pass. Thinking quickly, Jake uses a sandwich he has to distract the dog and manages to slip away. And now we've reached the end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more great content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.